Hi guys! Welcome to one of the last devlogs for Dario's Carnage. This game full of fun and chaos is almost finished, but first I'm going to show you some of the things that I've created for the game. I'd like to go back to the very beginning, to Sprint 1, where it was my job to create the enemies for the first level. We had already designed the enemies mostly. We wanted to make an apple enemy that bites you when you're in close range. We wanted to make a kiwi enemy that shoots its pits at you. And we wanted to make an enemy that throws fruits at you. What these enemies would look like exactly was something we had not thought about yet, but at this moment I needed to make the enemies work first. To start, I created the main scripts for the enemies that we have today. A movement script, an attack script, and one for tracking health. This one got reworked later on though. I was already playing around with nav mesh and agents and all that stuff, so I had kind of a head start with making the movement script for the enemies. This is the movement script, and this is just what all the enemies use. All the enemies can move around with the nav mesh in this way all around the map, also in the second level. The attacking part was a bit harder because all the enemies have different attack styles, and I didn't really succeed in making 3 separate scripts. But I quickly found a solution with the one script and the separate projectile script. The script is being used by the projectiles coming from the enemy, the kiwi enemy, and the fruit thrower. Now, with some serialized fields, we have some pretty nice working enemy prefabs that can be placed all around the map. And with that, I finished the enemies of level 1 in one sprint, and I created code that could be used for the enemies that will be made in the future. Then in sprint 2, I didn't do much with the enemies. They were completely functional, all I needed were visuals and sounds. This sprint, I was busy making a chicken gun that shoots its eggs at enemies, which was also very fun, but I won't get into that in this video. Other than that, we also made a bit more design choices for the enemies, like what kind of animations we wanted them to have and how we wanted them to look. And because I had some time left this sprint, I started working on the apple enemy. I refined the asset so that it would look like this. It's more of a realistic apple to fit the kitchen level vibe. Then I gave them a walking animation, where they slowly hop around as if they're going up and down while walking. I also made an animation, just like this one, where the enemy heads at you to do damage. And that was all for sprint 2 for me. But then came sprint 3, and so much of my progress got lost. We got a new Git repository and all of the animations that I had made disappeared with that. I couldn't find them anywhere and I couldn't retrieve them. So I had to do the chicken gun and the apple animations all over again. This was so sad and so demotivating. But there was still a lot that had to be done. In the process of redoing the animations, I made some animations that were actually better than before, so that was pretty nice. In the middle of the sprint, a teammate left our team, and I inherited one of her tasks, which was also pretty good in a way, because it gave me some ideas for the apple enemy. That is how our apple enemy started looking like it does right now, with all of these animations. The task that I wanted to get to next was the one that I got from the teammate, which was to create the visuals and sounds for the kiwi. I didn't have to start all the way from the beginning, luckily. She had already made this particle for the shooting. All I had to make was a walking animation, a shooting animation, a death animation, and I had to implement the shooting sound. And now we have this kiwi enemy. The very last visuals and sounds that I had to make were for the fruit thrower. This was the hardest for me, because I had a lot of trouble with thinking of the right asset for something that throws fruit. One teammate had suggested that I use a ragdoll that throws fruit really wonky, but after a few weeks I couldn't make any good looking animations. We also thought of a slingshot of some sort, but that was just too lifeless. Then after thinking really hard with another teammate, we came with the idea to use the monkey asset that we also use in level 2. and with less than a week left in the sprint, I managed to make this. So that was the progress of making the enemies in the first level. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye bye!